Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another cigar review from Sunday Afternoon Smokes. Sitting here in the virtual Sunday Afternoon Smokes podcast studio, which is just the technological background lay that's offered to me, and grateful for that. But that way, you just don't have to stare at the siding on my house and my sliding glass back door. But today, we're going to jump into Arlequin. Arlequin. I don't know exactly how you say that, but this is a Connecticut wrap cigar, and this is from Fratello cigars. Forgive me if my hands are a little shaky. Just got back from the gym. Been doing some exercising and some walking and those things. So I'm tired, but nothing like a great pick me up when you get home after. This is post workout cigar. So Arlequin from Fratello. This is a Connecticut blend. You can get on over to their website if you want and find out more about it. FratelloCigar.com. That's FRATELLO cigar.com. And you can find out, pretty much everything you need to know about Fratello cigars just on their website. But I've got, as my usual, got a little cup of Joe right here because coffee and cigars is a wonderful thing. And so I'm going to jump into that. Just got a text message. I'm going to turn this phone off here, but we're going to jump into that. I'm going to hit. This is a box press, as you can see, soft square edges, holds nicely between the teeth. I'm going to hit with a guillotine cutter. We're going to go ahead and light it up, and then we'll get into it and see what it's all about. Just a sec while I cut this thing. And I've talked about this before, but really you can see how very little I took off right there. You don't have to take much. Little crack there, not a big deal. But you see like the different layers of caps on there, and I like that. Just extra protection for the cigar, prevent unwinding. You really just need to barely open up an airway right there. The draw is lovely on this, very open, and that's something that I really really like. Usually if you've got a small crack or something, I don't even know if that happened just before I don't think it was that way when I took it out of the cellophane. Maybe I bumped it or something, but if you've got a crack on there on your cigar, just a little bit of saliva, you will usually paste it back down. It's not a big deal at all. But the rest of it looks really good. I mean, it's a really nice uniform color on the Connecticut leaf there on the outside. The veins are very small. It's pleasant to the eye, presents well. Like I said, box press. Nice design on the wrapper with the checker here around the back and side. And it looks really good. Connecticut blend, at least on the wrapper side. Yeah, just on the cold draw there, just a very little bit of spice, not a whole lot, but and I like whenever I do my cold draw, I like to retrohale it, so you get so much flavor. Very mild on the nose and foot, and I'll just go ahead and give you the blend here. So if you venture over to FratelloCigar.com and you click on our cigars, they have quite a few lines, right? They have their core line. Now they have an interesting lunar humidor. We can talk a little bit about their founder, former engineer at NASA. So this interesting lunar humidor, and they've got also an Italian collection, state exclusives, their value line. They got some fresh packs, which is always nice. But this right here, this Arlequin, is in their Italian collection, and this is the Connecticut, which is very mild, medium, maybe right there in the middle. It is a Ecuador Connecticut wrapper, an Ecuadorian binder, and a dual blend from Peru and Nicaragua. Now they don't a lot of manufacturers on their website they will give you the blend of the tobacco that is in the cigar, but not all of them kind of put down a flavor profile of what you can expect. Now, if you've smoked a lot of Connecticut cigars, you can probably get a general idea of what you should be looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and toast the foot on this. I can see a little bit better than usual. I opened up my umbrella and set it to where it really needs to be to give me some shade. So just kind of able to see my flame just a little bit, just kind of tickling the foot here, not doing anything too crazy. There you have it. That's a little bit bolder than I expected on my first few puffs from this Connecticut. But I guarantee you that comes from the blend of the Nicaragua and Peruvian tobacco in the middle. Uh, Peru does produce some tobacco. Obviously, it's not one of the big hitters in the world, right? I mean, the big swingers when it comes to tobacco production, leaving Cuba out of it because I'm U.S. based. We have that embargo still standing, so we don't deal with them. Um, but oh crap! Well, there goes my umbrella. The wind just blew it over, and let me stop, and I will be back in just a minute. And we're back. I have a nice 40-pound bag of pellets in my garage for my wood burning stove that I keep on the patio, or pellet burning stove space heater that I keep on the patio. Ran in, grabbed that, which was fun, picking up a 40-pound bag of pellets after my workout, but threw that on the base, and hopefully that takes care of this for the rest of this episode. So where was I? Yeah. Talking about the big hitters, the big swingers in the world as far as tobacco production, that just kind of keeping Cuba out of it. But the big players would be Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, United States. Um, Not in that. That's just a random order, right? But Peru does produce some tobacco. It's used in various cigars. You don't find it super often, but you do. It obviously is in this one in a blend on the filler with Nicaragua. But in 2022, Peru produced about 2.1 thousand tons of unmanufactured tobacco. Uh, but and that only accounts for approximately 0.04% of the global production of Peru. So I mean of globally. Um, it's way down the list, right? That puts Peru as like the number 71 on nations that produce tobacco in the world. So it's way down there, but they do produce some tobacco, and Peruvian tobacco its profile is generally very earthy flavors, strong, um, rich thing. It's kind of akin to Nicaraguan tobacco. So when I said this punches, was a little bit more bold than I expected from a Connecticut wrap cigar. Not that it's not medium, it's not even medium, and it's certainly not a Maduro, but it's a little bit, it punches above its weight, so to speak. Whenever I said that, I knew immediately it was from the Peruvian and the Nicaraguan blend that acts as our filler. Yeah, I like that. Um, Mild, there's mild, there's medium, there's full, then there's mild, medium, and medium full. This is in that mild medium category. for my palate anyway. And of course, that's exactly how they have it listed on their profile, on their website. There's 5 categories that kind of keep, they kind of give you an idea on the profile of what you can expect from this cigar, and they have that second box checked off, right? I mean, this is kind of like number 2 on the burner on your range, right? It's not low, but it's not number 3. It's kind of like 1.5, 2. It's like right in that low medium area on the flavor profile. Like if you hunt down, like you can find this cigar on like Cigars International website. It's readily available, but from the Cigar International website, they do give you a little bit of what you might expect. Um, it says the Arlequin Connecticut brings plenty of flavor to the party despite its mellow looking stature. Exactly what I said. It punches a little bit above its weight. The cigar is an excellent complement to the original Arlequin, sharing cocoa and pepper from it alongside a welcome creaminess from the Connecticut shade wrapper. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty close there. Let me smoke a little bit more. There is a slight pepperiness to this cigar. It's on the very low end of the scale, right? And there's some creaminess from the smoke. I'll see if I can pick up on the cocoa or anything else that I might find in it. Yeah. I mean, it's smoking beautifully. I love the draw on this cigar. That's exactly I like my draws. I've said it before, like a wide open, and that's where this is. And it's burning very well. It's constructed nicely. You don't have any kind of there's no. I mean, that's packed in nice. There's no tunneling, right? And as of now, I don't have any canoeing. So if you're a cigar smoker, you are familiar with those terms. If you're not, canoeing is whenever the outside of your cigar, kind of right up here at the top or wherever it happens to be. And like if you roll it over, you'll eventually get to the top. But it's when this wrapper here on the outside is burning and you've got to run. It's burning up here, and then all the stuff around the rest of it is behind, and that's called a canoe. It's kind of like scooping out. And then tunneling is you'll see a hole here is burning faster on the inside of the cigar instead of burning evenly. And that's really, that's a humidity issue. Um, it's a moisture issue. It's a humidity issue. Same. I mean, in essence, in a cigar, what you've got going on is you're maintaining a small ember. That's what's happening. You've lit this cigar with fire, and now you have to maintain this ember. And there are 3 things required for fire. I mean, fire is a trinity. You have to have a heat source, you have to have air, and you have to have a fuel source. Without one of those 3, you don't have fire. You have to have all 3 in perfect combination to get fire. So we had our fuel source, we had our fire right here, we had our heat. You've got to have heat. That's what this was for. But now that we've lit it, the heat, our source of fire is the ember in the cigar. The source of fuel is the tobacco, and the source of air is you puffing, right? We are drawing air over that ember, keeping it lit, right? So we have the heat, we have the airflow to keep that fire going, and the tobacco is being consumed. That's our fuel source. But in tobacco, in cigars, whenever you have some humidity pockets in your cigar, and that's not your fault, right? I mean, it's not your fault. It's depending. Let's just say you keep your cigars stored well, right? You keep them, whether it's in a properly regulated humidor or you keep them in a um, Bovida bag or some other type of bag with proper humidity pouches or or you have a Tupperware or whatever system you have, and you keep the proper humidity levels wherever you happen to like that, right? If you like your cigars, you smoke a little bit, talking a lot. It is a solo podcast. That's what happens. But it's staying lit. It's constructed very well. But whenever you have your cigars, they are stored properly, they are kept on proper humidity, and you have a cigar that is either tunneling or canoeing, what's happening is that cigar, for whatever reason, has spots. The tobacco has spots in there that have probably more humidity than others, which makes, you know, we know if you're going to have a fire, your wood has to be dry, right? Um, and if you're going to burn wet wood, you already have to have a very serious foundational fire to put that on there, or it's just not going to burn. So your wood has to be dry. In order to burn up something, you have to evaporate. I mean, all moisture has to be gone. So if you put a wet log onto a fire, it's going to be the last thing that burns, because before it can consume the wood, it's got to get rid of all of the moisture. We've all seen when you have a fire and you just have moisture bubbling out of the end of a piece of cut wood. So all the heat is being generated into that piece of wood, and it's driving the moisture out, and eventually you'll get to the wood. And it's the same with a cigar. So when you have tunneling or you have canoeing, your heat in that cigar has run into some tobacco that has a higher humidity level. It's got more moisture in this specific area of the cigar, and it's more difficult for the heat to consume that. So it's going to take the path of least resistance. It's going to go to the path where, the tobacco is drier and easier to burn, and that's usually why you wind up having tunneling or canoeing issues. I have, smokers ask me all the time, especially new guys, ask me all the time about their cigar canoeing, and they're like, what am I doing wrong that this is happening? And I tell them, it's not you. You don't have anything to do with that. There's no, I mean, what possibly could you do wrong? You've lit it and you're just puffing it. That's not under your control. That is strictly a humidity issue, right? So with a qualifier that you are keeping your cigars stored and humidified properly, that's not your fault. And it's really not even the manufacturer's fault. I mean, it comes down to a humidity thing, and you and I are not in control of that. We can set the humidity wherever we want. We can create a controlled environment. What we cannot control is how the tobacco in this cigar is reacting to that humidity, whether it's receiving it or rejecting it. That is almost a bit of a metaphysical issue that is outside of our abilities to dictate. So, yeah. So keep that in mind. Like if you're smoking a cigar and you're tunneling or you're canoeing, not your fault. Nothing you can do about it. If you most canoeing, I find, if it starts to run, I don't mess with it. I usually give it a few minutes, and a lot of the times it will even out on its own. But if it gets serious, I'll ash it off, and I'll just kind of take my torch lighter and I'll touch up around the outside just to kind of even it up, and it's usually fine. Canoeing, I mean, that's on the inside of the cigar. There's really not much you can do about it. Just smoke it and enjoy it. That's a little education for you for the day. This Arlequin, Connecticut, right here, it's smoking very well, as I've already showed you. Very well constructed, burning evenly, lots of smoke, which I like. It's yeah, lots of smoke on that. I would say probably medium body, mild medium in flavor, medium body. The smoke is, it's not overly thick, it's not thin, it's just kind of right in the middle. Great. This would be excellent with a cup of coffee, which I have right here. This would be great with a light beer, a white wine, maybe a lower proof, easy drinking bourbon, scotch, rye, something that's not overly spicy, because I just don't want to, um, I don't want what I'm drinking to just dominate the cigar so that I can't enjoy, I can't taste it. So kudos to this point to Fratello Cigars in this Arlequin. You can visit Fratello Cigars at X, which is old school Twitter, or new school Twitter rather, but x.com/Fratello Cigars. You can find them on Instagram at Fratello Cigars, and you can follow what it is that they are doing there. If you get over to their website, you can look up retailers. You can follow what's going on with them in the news. They give you a gallery if you want to kind of scroll through their photos and see, learn more. There's a 2025 brochure there that you can download. If you click on About Us, Omar DeFrias, he's the founder and CEO. And this guy was, I said engineer, excuse me, founded by former NASA analyst Omar DeFrias. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what he's analyzing. Lots of data, I'm sure. But he established this cigar company in 2013. And it said earlier this year. Now, this was in 2024. Earlier this year, the company celebrated a remarkable milestone by broadcasting live, commemorating its achievement as the quote first cigar band on the moon, end quote. This historic event culminated in the landing of a Fratello Cigars branded shuttle on February 22nd, 2024, solidifying the pioneering spirit and innovative approach of the Fratello brand within the cigar industry. I mean, that's pretty sweet, right? I mean, it's unique. Nobody else gets to do that or able to do that. Obviously, being a former NASA analyst, he's got connections inside the NASA company / industry. Launched this cigar business, and 9 years later, when he started in 11 years later, um, 2013, 11 years later in 2024, a Fratello branded, um, what was it? Shuttle, a Fratello branded shuttle lands on the moon. And I mean, that's sweet. Nobody else can say that. That's pretty cool. So congrats to Fratello on that, and to Mr. DeFrias. That's really sweet. But I'm really enjoying this Connecticut. There's definitely some richness in this cigar. So with the earthiness and the richness and just a hint of spice from Peru and Nicaragua, they have utilized Ecuadorian tobacco for the binder, and then a Connecticut shade grown tobacco seed in Ecuador, just to mellow out that earthiness and that richness. Um, Connecticut seed, Ecuadorian shade grown tobacco, very light, very mild, very creamy. It's what so many people enjoy. A lot of people in the tobacco world believe that, and for good reason, but they just believe that Connecticut, Ecuadorian grown Connecticut seed tobacco is the best version of itself. And it's kind of hard to argue with. It's just great. So get on over to FratelloCigar.com, check out their company, check out what they're doing, give them a follow on X at Fratello Cigars, give them a follow on Instagram, Fratello Cigars. And yeah, man, you can pick this up readily online, at various cigar um, places like Cigars International, maybe probably JR Cigar. I'd be shocked if they didn't have them there. And so I mean, I think that think that does it. I'm going to wrap it up. Although they do have, I'm going to stop right there. Excuse me. I do want to mention one thing. They recently came out with their value line, and the value line's pretty cool. They all have they'll have the bands on all their cigars are camo. I feel like I should pick some of those up for my business living in the South, living here in South Carolina. A lot of outdoorsy stuff, guys camo, deer hunting, duck hunting, just all the bird hunting. I think that would probably play really well here. Just the camouflage band on that. It says introducing the camo line, Fratello cigars, more affordable yet full flavor cigar options. These long filler cigars have earned their stripes in the world of tobacco connoisseurs. With high ratings and a budget friendly price point, Fratello Camo is the perfect companion for those who appreciate the quality without breaking the bank. Ignite your senses and experience the essence of the Fratello Camo line. So they have a Maduro, a Habano, a Connecticut, and a Connecticut sweet tip. So that's interesting. Hey, I'd appreciate it if if you're watching this on YouTube, if you'd smash that like button, maybe you even want to follow me. It's a young channel, and so I'd appreciate it if you follow and maybe help spread the word and invite other people to watch what I'm doing. You can also follow me on Instagram at Sunday Afternoon Smokes. You can listen to the audio only version of this podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. You can also follow my other company, The Cigar Box, which is the main driver of my cigar business. But you can follow me on X and Instagram at Mobile Cigar Box. You can visit mobileCigarBox.com to check out my business. And there's a booking inquiry form if you want to have a rolling humidor at your next party. It's custom built teardrop style trailer. Pretty awesome. So look me up, and thanks for watching, and share this with your friends, share it on your social media, all that stuff. I really love Sunday Afternoon Smokes. And one last time, Fratello cigars, Arlequin, great smoke, medium body, lots of smoke, which I like. Things smokes like a chimney. Yeah, it's still going strong. Constructed very, very well. I see why it's rated 90. It's just it's quality all the way around. Great job. And thanks for watching. We will talk to you again very soon. Have a good one.